Well, good morning. I'm glad you all made it out. I guess given the weather, I know a few people had to turn back driving in from Saskatchewan this morning. So glad to see how many of you came out today. This morning, pretty much most of you are going to be at Breakout West. You're going to be networking, you're going to be signing up, or you already have signed up for one-on-ones. You're going to be doing roundtables, and we're just going to talk about pitching and how to represent yourself and how to essentially create yourself like an elevator pitch without going too long, having it too short, having it extremely confusing, comparing yourself to say like Kanye meets like death metal meets reggae or something like that. Just making it precise and like straight to the point. When you want to prepare to be pitching to a delegate, what's the first thing that you should be preparing for? Anybody?
Know their name.
Know their name? Yeah. Even before that, that's extremely important. But even before that, what's the very first thing that you should be, planning out? Okay. Well, you want to think about your goals. You want to start analyzing your goals. You want to think about your strategy. What do you want to achieve? When you go to a conference, what do you actually want to plan out? Who do you want to meet? If you're looking at building up a team, these are all things that you want to be asking yourself, and how to kind of amp up your own career just by targeting meeting specific people. Second thing is, when you register for a conference, you want to start looking at go through the delegate list, go through the conference, and start picking out who you want to meet, and research, Google them, read their bios. This is so crucial and so important, is that always go into any type of meeting just being prepared. Because the last thing you want to do when it's your first introduction is you say, so what do you do? No, you want to go in, if you already have pre-planned one-on-ones, you want to go in and you want to say, I know you do this is what I'm doing, and then you kind of build off of that. You also want to be realistic. You're not going to get a record deal instantly just from doing a 5-minute pitch, but what you're going to be doing is you're going to be starting to build up a relationship. The music industry works on relationships, and that's how your business is going to work off of. So you want to start off, you want to make friends first, the business will come up after. For the second point, and I touched on this just a little bit, is do your research. Figure out, so say you want to go and meet up with a record label, go figure out who's on that roster, who's touring where, who's doing what, who's releasing what, and if you feel it's a good fit for you, these are people who you want to be meeting. This goes for any conference, any meetings. And also too, when you do your research, you also want to be realistic. You don't want to go after the CEO of Sony, ATV, music publishing, but just because, they're super busy, so you might want to go and just, go after somebody who's either new to the company or somebody that's looking for newer artists, and, just ask questions, because somebody will be able to help you out. And then, again, make sure you know exactly what these people do, and if they can help you out in any way. Don't waste their time. This is very important. This can always work against you. Say there's a free table and somebody works at a heavy metal label, but you're an R&B artist. But you go and you meet with them, you sit down, don't just kind of just awkwardly stare at each other and just think about okay, I'm doing this person can't help me out in any way. Think about just if you have friends that play in a metal band, or if they should be listening to somebody, there's always going to be crossover, and there's always going to be relationships that are going to develop. So don't just instantly just cut something out just because you don't think it's going to work for you. You never know what's going to happen. Let's kind of start talking about the elevator pitch a little bit. right off the bat, never say, I wrote the best record of the year, do you want to hear it? Like, it should be a no-brainer, but it happens all the time. You know, like, and two, like, don't bring an iPad with headphones on it, and when you're sitting with a delegate, just say like, hey, do you want to listen to my new album? Check this out, listen to this track. Do you love it? Want to sign me? Like, it's not going to work out that way. You have to be realistic. And, you know, everybody that works in the music industry, like, we all, you know, like, whether you're an artist or you work in the industry, you all interpret music your own way, and that means you have to be vibing with it. You have to be in like the right headspace. But, you know, you kind of got to be like working on the, you know, on the fly just a little bit, and just thinking about just like, you know, like if you're gonna have, if you're gonna be pitching someone some music, always just ask like, how do you want to receive music? Just because 9 times out of 10 they'll say, shoot me a link. Some will ask for a CD. It's always best to have both. If you're taking part in any roundtables, networking, or B2B meetings, which stands for business to business, you need to have a pitch, and you may only get one chance to talk to these people, so you got to make it count. You must be prepared to explain your work and sound in concise in terms. Now, your pitch does not need to be long. It could be 5 to 10 words that describe your music with mention of genre, what you sound like. Now, prior to Break Up West, who has like practiced their own pitch? Who has kind of just, you know, timed themselves and explained who they are in less than a minute? Kind of, sort of, nobody? Okay. No, that's okay. That's why we're here. You know, like when you're planning out your pitch, you also want to avoid comparisons. Instead, just state your influences. So if you say like this album, you know, sounds like Kanye West, no, let's just say I'm heavily influenced by Kanye West, but it's, you know, I've had to make it my own. Don't list what artists sound like, but what artists you're influenced by. When you're asked what you sound like, have fun, be natural with your response. Find common ground with the individual. Quote unquote, be a music nerd. This is probably one of the most important things whenever you're going to be pitching yourself to any type of delegate, any type of industry, or even to another band or an artist. Be yourself. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Because you're going in, you know, because like, again, like the music industry, it's based on relationships. And, you know, if you meet somebody and you're vibing together and there's good energy there, you know, something might come out of it. Or if something doesn't come out of it, maybe they have a friend that, you know, something might come out of it, they'll be able to vouch for you. So just be yourself. That's so important. If you know, if you have like a quirky laugh, like just laugh. Yeah. Your pitch needs to sell your music without them hearing the music. Again, this is why, it's like, I had a couple of people just kind of like looked at me just a little bit, just be like, what do you mean? And like, when you sell your music without them hearing the music, you got to think about, if you were to describe it, just in a sense, just where you keep it short and sweet, but it has to be concise in the way that somebody can actually just make sense of what you do. Again, like you're not going to say, like, I'm a Kanye West reggae death metal group or something like that. You kind of want to concise it. You don't want to go heavy into the subgenres. You want to keep things into a place where, you know, you're talking about where you're just kind of like a pop artist, or you know, we're just like an indie rock band from Canada. Just something, you know, just so that they can make sense of it, because the next step after that is going to be able to send them your music. You want to think of your pitch as a focused introduction to your story, and you will be more likely to compel others to check out the music. If you introduce yourself and your music in a way that is boring or not interesting to people, the majority of delegates will not be interested in checking out your music. And this comes back down to just doing your research and just, you know, figuring out who you want to meet with, and, you know, like you want to make sure that the people that you're going to be meeting with is targeted in ways that you can help out amp up your career. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay. You also don't over want to sell it. So it is kind of like a fine line in pitching to a delegate. Like this could do more harm than good. So you don't want to use statements like redefining your genre or the best record of the year. This it'll really throw people off. There's a way that you can brag about what you do without bragging. And like for example, like if you're working with like a producer, if you're working with, say, for example, somebody who recorded an Arcade Fire album, reference that, because that right there will also kind of start to add to your credibility, and it'll start to boost your chance of somebody getting to listen to your stuff. Okay, let's talk about materials and promo. Before I continue, does anybody have any questions about the elevator pitch? Because essentially, like, everything wraps around the elevator pitch. And
so the elevator pitch itself is only a minute?
It can be a minute. Like, usually when you have the one-on-ones, it's either going to be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And
so the elevator pitch of it is sort of that first minute part of that whole 10-minute thing.
It's just the first minute part. Usually, like, you kind of just got to wait till somebody sits down, and they'll probably just ask, like, so what do you do? And then that's your time to shine. And then after that, after you do your elevator pitch, that's when you can go in and you can start referencing what this individual does. Bring a piece of paper and bring a pen, make notes. If you have to make yourself little like cheat notes for the people that you're going to be meeting, absolutely do it. All right, how many of you brought business cards today? Yeah. Or we'll have business cards at Breakout West. Yeah, awesome. That's really great to hear and see. Like, what about small postcards for those of you that are showcasing with your set times and like an image?
Just a question.
Yes.
So, I guess I went to conference the last time Breakout West was here, but I don't know like the dynamics of the festival. Like, is it similar to like Kansas City where you can? Are there areas you can leave stuff? Like, are there areas you can post posters? Like, what is what is the dynamic of Breakout West typically? Like with the hotels, because a lot of hotels don't like that. Is that cool?
You know, you could definitely leave postcards on tables. I wouldn't put any posters unless you see somebody putting up posters, but I think Kansas City just makes an exception for the Focal Alliance International Conference. But yeah, definitely bring your postcards, and if you want to bring some CDs, just leave them out on some trays. There'll be lots of that happening at Breakout West. So, and everybody knows where the host hotel is, the DoubleTree. Okay. Okay, so for those of you that are showcasing, and if you're still planning on just building up a postcard, just a couple things you want to make sure that you include, because I've seen postcards happen or get made, and they're lacking information. So you always want to make sure you have the date, the showcase time, including the venue. I know at Canadian Music Week in May, actually I saw a couple postcards where they would have the venue and the artist as well as the date, but not the time. So it's really tough to get somebody to come out and watch you perform if there's no time on it. You also want to include your own photo. Same with like business cards. Put your photo on your business card because it'll still, help put a name to the face. You also want to include your socials, your own branding if you have your logo, download code. I'm sure a lot of you are involved with Bandcamp. Bandcamp is just a really cheap way that you can get download codes. So instead of just redeeming and getting paid, you can actually get your own download codes on, I guess, through Bandcamp. Essentially, it's like a spreadsheet just with a code on it, and then so you can have one side explaining like who you are as an artist, including your showcase times. On the other side, if you want to just say like, here's a free download to 3 songs, this is how you redeem those through Bandcamp. So highly recommend that. A really good example, if you get a chance, because I know Rosie and the Riveters will be out and about, check out what they have for postcards, because they probably do some of the best postcards I've ever seen. So I'm sure you'll see them, but just check them out, just be watching out for those. Yeah, bring CDs with you, but again, make sure you ask a delegate how they prefer to receive music. I guess for a lot of delegates that are from Europe, some of them will prefer an actual physical disc. I know a lot of delegates, they actually prefer just a download link, but just always ask instead of just handing stuff out. It's really simple. Can even just break the ice a little bit. And then make sure you create an EPK, an electronic press kit, and you have a link through, for example, Dropbox. How many of you have an electronic press kit? Awesome. And is that directly through your website, or is that through Dropbox, just like a quick link that you can just email to somebody? Like, what's the process that you guys use?
I still use Sonic Kids.
You still use Sonic Kids? Yeah.
Sucks to pay.
Yeah, it does suck to pay. Yeah.
I reference it like frequently. It's just a living document.
Cool. Well, it always helps just to have like an additional Dropbox link so you can include your photos, just a short brief bio, press quotes, links to your music, and anything else that you want to add. Yeah, and then before you go into a meeting, just email the link to yourself so that if you have to email it to somebody on the fly, it's done.
So can you use Dropbox? Like, I don't know much about Dropbox. I have pictures in my Dropbox, but.
Oh yeah, you can actually create your own subfolder in
Yeah.
Dropbox,
Oh, okay.
and so you just upload everything to there, and you can just say Wanda's EPK,
Yeah.
and then you can create subfolders in there just with all the information you want to include.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Does anybody have any questions about any of the materials to bring? Yes.
Do you advise people reaching out in advance with the person if they have a meeting set up?
Yes, actually, that was going to be a point that I was going to touch on after, but you know what? Let's do it right now because this is so crucial, and I'm going to use Marvin as an example. Sorry, Marvin. So Marvin from DGS Samurai Champs. Marvin was out. We were out at Reeperbahn in Hamburg, Germany, and absolutely phenomenal conference and music festival. Well, one of the things that Marvin was doing, he was reaching out to delegates. So after he got his conference and his delegate badge, you get access to all the delegates that are going to be attending the music festival. So Marvin was out there, he crafted up an email and just said, this is who we are, but he also personalized it. He did his research, and there was a music publisher that actually was chatting with Mike and I, and this was in Berlin. And so we did these pre-Reeperbahn events in Berlin. And this music publisher came up to Mike and I and just said, yeah, we get 100 of these emails, anytime there's a conference, but Marvin's really stuck out to us because he was referencing what we do. It was very personal, and it was very, extremely just coming in as like a human being. You don't sound like a robot just doing like a mass email sent to everybody. And because of that, they actually were looking forward to, and they came out to DGS's showcase. So contacting a delegate in advance, highly recommend it if you can personalize the email. Never send out, craft up just a mass email and just send it to everybody thinking that it's going to be a big time saver. Just because somebody will open that up, they'll be like, yep, that sucks, and essentially just trash it. So I guess for Breakup West, there is the emails through the conference panels and the delegates. So yeah, absolutely, highly recommend on reaching out to people ahead of time, either setting up a meeting, if you want to, invite them out to your showcase, or just looking forward just to meeting them at some point. Absolutely. If you're going to be reaching out to a delegate though, just because they are going to be receiving lots of these emails, you want to do it sooner the better. That should be just, automatically. Like, don't send a bunch of like invites and meeting requests like a day before. I guess when you only have like a spot open that's free. But yeah.
Sorry, one other thing to keep in mind, I think, is that at this and all conferences, in most instances, the delegates are from around the world, and they have obligations at that conference, but beyond that, they don't know a ton of people or the city that well. And so I think that what always works well, I mean, so I've always used this historically, is to just ask someone who you're particularly interested in the meeting if they want to meet you for a coffee, and then set that coffee at the hotel so that they don't have to wander around the city lost trying to find you. And just find a time that works for them if you're flexible, because it's very rarely that someone won't have 15 minutes to meet for a coffee at the lobby of the hotel. So it is a really nice way to do it. And particularly, if you're showcasing later that weekend, you can just reach out to them and see if they have a moment. They'll be thankful to make a friend at the same time.
Absolutely. Again, industry works on relationships. So, again, yeah, go in making friends first, and business comes after. Now, if you're going to be sending out an email, subject line, and this is going to be like the first thing that people are going to see in their email box. What do you put as the subject line? You don't want to just say showcase invitation, because they might think it's spam or just something like that. So you want to be creative on just whenever you're reaching out to somebody. Include the artist's name in the subject line. If they work for a company, just target their personal name instead. Be creative. Try and stand out without being an idiot. And then, before you send out an email, proofread. If that means you have to get somebody else to look over your email, go over your spelling and grammar. People notice this, and it can really throw somebody off if they have bad grammar in their email. Also, I guess, don't come across as a car salesman with a greasy pitch about how your great band is. Be natural and be yourself. So just type your email as if we're having a conversation. Does anybody have any questions just about reaching out to somebody in advance? Delegate? And this goes like across the board too. Like this isn't just necessarily for Breakout West. This will be for every conference, every music industry event that you attend from now until your career, I guess, is done.
Kaelen, when you say email as a conversation, would it be like just me using like or my natural speech patterns, or do I sweeten it up a little bit?
Sweeten up a little bit. Just come across as professional.
Yeah.
Like don't put any slangs, I guess, in your email. Like it still is like you are your business manager. Yeah, it's. I guess, like, for example, say you were pitching to a music supervisor and you wanted to, you really wanted to grab their attention and you want to just sit down for them for a coffee. Well, first thing that you should be doing that I recommend everybody to do is go and just do a quick Google search and just see what TV shows that they work on and reference it and watch the show and actually just listen to, because you'll also start to notice a bit of a trend too for what type of music's being placed. If you feel it's a good fit, reference it and just say, hey, like, I'm writing something similar. This is something that's, if you ever need anything, my songs are a one-stop shop, so everything's pre-cleared, just something like that. But you can still add like your own tones just to make it personal, just so it doesn't come across as spam. Sorry, did that answer your question? That's
Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's chat just the follow-up, like what to do when you're, after Breakout West. This step actually defines if all your energy and time was worthwhile. And, emailing somebody right away and just thanking them for their time is so important. So when you return home, and you're going through your stack of business cards, you know, start to just like reference just what you talked about. Thank them if they came out to your showcase, if you grabbed a beer. Just reference something that you did together, just because it just shows like you are paying attention. Again, because you don't want to be sending like a thank you as I guess as a blanket email. You really want to personalize it. And then, you know, from that, even if nothing comes out of it, it's just that you'll begin to start to see like the same people at quite a few of the same conferences, and just always maintain that relationship, because you just never know what will come out of that and who's friends with who. Now, oh sorry.
One more thing, I'm sorry. And I also think it is important to follow up, obviously. I think that also what that does is that creates a window when you reach further milestones in your career, that it's not awkward for you to touch base with these people that you're particularly interested in and let them know what you've been up to. You know, if you've released a new video or something, it's a nice opportunity to share it. In a lot of cases, the music industry sort of is lying in wait for something great to happen where they can jump on the momentum. So I do think that that follow-up just creates a window where you can then touch base and let people know what's happening in your career without it just sort of being a pitch and just be like, you know, if I want to follow up again, it's nice to see you, here's this new video or here's a new album or what have you. So just to keep those doors open.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, and does anybody have any questions just about following up? Anybody have any like good experiences? No. You know, I guess I'm just gonna leave with this last note here. This doesn't necessarily have anything to do with like one-on-ones or I guess like your business-to-business meetings, but attend panels. I can't stress this enough. Always go, and if you're at a conference, you know, if you're there pretty much to work, attend panels, go to these panels, and go, you know, like learn about the business. And once the panel is finished, go in and introduce yourself to the panelists, because through that you'll start to build some other and some new connections as well. So actually, another example is Marvin at Reaper Bond was attending a couple panels. And the panels that he did attend, he actually invited that industry to come watch him perform, and they all showed up. So, you know, it just never hurts just to go and just attend. That's pretty much it. If there's anything in the SaskMusic staff want to add, Lorena?
Yeah, but I just want to add to that too. If you think about, for the panelists, their panel is like their showcase. So you want them to come and see your work. It's nice to go and see them do their work and appreciate that they're at that conference to deliver education. And if you don't want to bother showing up to go see their panel, they have less vested interest in returning the favor. And also, Kaelen, if you could just talk a little bit about when you're taking the one-on-ones as a band, is it best to send in one person, or should you all go, or how do you determine that?
You know, that's a great question. Just because there will be lots of bands that will want to, I guess, double up or have 5 people just chatting to one person. What I recommend is either have one person, just pick a band leader, just somebody that's, you know, well-spoken in your band. Either have one person or have 2 people with you, and but always have one person to be kind of like the primary conversation starter. And just so like the conversation is direct, like you don't have a lot of time to be, you know, be doing your pitch, and you also want to make sure like you're, you know, like it's concise and it's, you know, it's on topic, and you want to make sure that, you know, you can start to build up a relationship afterwards. So if you have an option and there's like 10 of you in a band, just pick 1 or 2 people to do your business-to-business meetings.
What if the person follows up with you and then you reply and then you get the email back like, oh, I'm out of office till blah, blah, blah?
Oh, that's okay. Just follow up with them. Just make
After
note
the date.
on when they're back in the office, and just follow up with them again.
Hate hassling people.
I know, it's like you never want to overdo it. Like even if you're doing a follow-up and you haven't received a response, say like